Welcome everyone. In today's demo overview, we will be showing a very typical use case of eBA, which is the IT help desk process. As you probably know by now, eBA is a transactional ECM, an enterprise content management platform comprised of several modules and capabilities. And through the use of all or several of these capabilities, you can optimize and streamline your business processes and enterprise applications. So eBA is really a platform that you should use to, enhance, let's say, your SAP, especially for those types of processes that tend to be very data intensive, where there's still a lot of manual steps being done. And where there's a lot of data coming into the organization. At the core of eBA is a very powerful workflow module, and because of that module, you can actually also use eBA to create small business applications. And that's exactly what we're doing in this specific scenario for the IT help desk. So let's have a look at the process overview. And in this specific case, we are showing you an actual live process that has been adopted by one of our European customers, which is a large financial services company. And prior to eBA, they basically had a very manual help desk process. Manual in the sense that if you had an issue or a ticket, you'd basically just send an email to somebody in IT and then hope that that person would route it to the right person and the issue would be solved and you would be able to continue your work. But as we all know, if you do this through email, the moment that you send your email, you really kind of lose visibility over the process. So you don't know whether the recipient of your email is forwarding it to someone else, where that person is at in terms of solving it, etc., etc. So for this specific customer, we, with the help of the eBA platform, created this help desk process, also based upon their business design and requirements. So as you can see, this is a pretty elaborate type of process, and we don't have enough time really in this specific demo to show you everything of it. But I'm going to just walk you through the process that I will be showing to you here in a few minutes. So a process always starts with a process starter. There's obviously a need or a ticket. And what we will show in the example is someone within the quality control group starting a process on behalf of his boss, because the boss has locked himself out of his Windows operating system and needs to get a password reset. So the way this process has been set up is that eBA will recognize what type of ticket this is based upon a classification. So the first thing, as the requester is filling out the application form, they will be able to categorize what kind of ticket this is. And if you see job request here, what that really means is it's kind of a change request. So this company was actually using eBA not just for the typical IT tickets, but also for change requests. So they were running various enterprise applications, and for instance, if they needed to do a change request on an SAP process, this was the same process they used to initiate and finalize these types of change requests. But in the example that I'll be showing to you, this is not a change request. It's basically a typical IT ticket request. So it will actually go to a responsible party. And in this specific case, you've got two options. You've got the infrastructure team, the technical team they call it, and the applications team. Again, in their lingo, software team. As you can see, in several of these process steps, we have something called a timeout. What that is, it's basically a timer object within eBA. And you can set it any way you want, but if you want somebody to respond to a ticket within a certain period of time, this is what you would use. And you can also use it to escalate a ticket if it has not been handled after a specific period of time to a next level. So in this case, the ticket goes to the technical team, and it goes to a group of people. the first person that picks up the ticket has a quick look at it, but then realizes that he needs to go and pick up his kids, so he decides to reassign it to another colleague of him. So he basically redirects the ticket. And the person that it was reassigned to accepts that ticket and basically starts working the ticket. Again, here's a double check to see if this is actually a JR job request, or in other words, a change request or something else. And again, this is a basic IT ticket. So it now gets routed to the responsible person who assumes the ticket and attempts to resolve the ticket. So that person can basically solve the ticket by replying to the user, and the process really only finishes when the user reviews the solution and accepts it, and that's when the process basically finishes. And again, you can see several different timer objects here as well. So let's have a look at how this works within eBA. All right, so you may have seen this screen before. This is the typical startup screen that you see as an eBA end user. So this is the admin screen. I'm now going to be logging in as Michael Jason. And Michael is one of the people within the quality control group who has a boss, and his boss's name is Young Kim. Young, unfortunately, locked himself out of his computer and needs to get a Windows password reset. So, as you can see, Michael here has a number of applications that he has access to. He can launch an IT ticket through different ways. He can click on the applications menu here and see the various applications that he has access to or he can use, and basically start the IT ticket process from here, or he can click on the drop down and basically access it from here as well. Now, some of our customers actually decide to use a third-party portal type of structure to access this type of screen, which you can do because through a web service you can access eBA from within other applications as well. So let's get started. Michael is requesting the password reset for his boss, Young King. So he fills out in this form, the requester being Young King, which is a person in his department, and goes down and selects what kind of request this is. So in this case, it's a typical IT request, not a job request or change management request. And based upon this selection, this already determines which way the flow will be going subsequently. He can specify, the category of the ticket. So in this case, password change for Young King. You can set up subcategories. What kind of password change is this? Well, it's a Windows password change. What's the issue? Now he has basically locked himself out of the password. So let's choose that category. And by the way, these types of fields and drop-down menus are very easy to configure as an administrative user in the IT ticket parameter field, which I can show you here in a second. Order of priority, low, middle, high. Well, this is pretty high priority because Young really needs to be able to do his job, and without getting into his computer, he obviously can't. So he selects high. Now, in the explanation, just writes a quick note, requesting password change on behalf of my boss, Young King. Please assume as soon as possible. You also have the opportunity to attach files here. So let's say if you have a screenshot of a certain error that you may get, you can go and attach that here. For the time being, we will not attach anything for now. All right, so this is ready to be sent. So Michael sends the send button, and workflow management will give you a quick summary as well as a visualization of what's going to happen next. So as you can see here, the creator was Michael. There's a time stamp of when this process started. The status is still open. It shows you all of the categories of this request. And it also shows you that this has now gone to the infrastructure group, which consists of two people, Dan and Adam, and it's waiting for their action at this point. If you scroll down, this is basically the workflow itself, and if an arrow is green, it shows you where we are at in the process. All right, let me go to the infrastructure group, and let's just log in as, let's say, Adam Lion. So Adam can go into this application, into workflow, and look and see whether he has, in this case, it's called approvals pending. So as you can see, there's an open ticket regarding the password change request from Michael on behalf of his boss. So you can double click on that and go into the actual form. Now, this is one way to access these IT requests for Adam. But Adam will also get a notification via email. So Adam, as well as Dan, both of the group users, have received this notification via email with a clickable link that can also direct them right to this specific screen. So Adam is reviewing the ticket and then suddenly realizes that he actually needs to go and run because it's time for him to pick up his kids. So instead of actually tackling it, he decides to reassign it to his colleague. So here you see the action buttons. Instead of assuming the ticket, he's going to actually redirect it. So the redirect will go to the infrastructure group, and in the infrastructure group, he selects his colleague, Dan King, and says, "Hey, Dan, can you tackle this for me?" Thanks. All right. So again, there's an opportunity here to attach files. We won't do that in this specific sample. We click OK. And in the workflow, you can see that it's now in the lap of Dan that needs to take an action on this. So let's log in as Dan. There we go, Dan. So Dan goes into his workflow management application, sees that he has an action item waiting, which is the password change request that was forwarded to him by Adam. Here in this history tab, you will be able to see every action or notification that has been taken on this process. It will record this, and it will be available for audit purposes later onwards. So Dan actually reviews this process right now and decides to go into the Windows Admin Center and change Young's password. After he's completed doing that, he basically replies to this workflow and basically gives a message and says, "Hey, I've reset the password for Young. Please use the following upon login," etc., etc. So he submits this reply, and as you can see, and as I had mentioned when I described the process based upon the diagram, it's now pending approval of Michael. So it actually goes back to the requester, and the requester can basically close out this ticket. So let's go back to Michael. Michael goes into his approvals. He also has notifications and looks at the message that he has just received from Dan. And again, this specific message has also been sent to Michael in an email notification with a clickable link to this specific form. So he sees that the password has been reset. He knows what the new password is. He goes and walks over to his colleague's desk and says to Young, hey, here is your new password. Can you just quickly check and make sure it works? He types it in, confirms that he's into the system. So Michael knows this has been resolved and basically hits the status completed. He can send a message saying, thanks a lot, Dan. Young has been able to log back in. It's okay. And in essence, that completes the workflow process. So Young was basically the person that this ticket was all about. And obviously, Young wasn't really able to do anything in the application because he was still locked out from his computer. But he is able to log in now, and he can actually view this process himself as well. So let's just log in as Young, because Young has been receiving notifications about the resolvement of this ticket throughout the process. So now I'm logging in as Young Kim. I'm going to my workflow management. As you can see, I've got a lot of notifications. So the last few ones were here, requesting the password change. Let's click on this one. So this is the one we just went through. You can see who initially reviewed it, Adam, who got redirected to Dan, and who indicated that the problem was solved, Michael. So that concludes the overview of the IT help desk demo scenario. If you would like to see a more elaborate scenario, which for instance this French financial services firm is using, we'd be more than happy to set up an additional demo for you. For now, thank you very much.